Hi there. Hi there. Welcome back to the LinkedIn Client Acquisition System 4-part action plan. There are certain prerequisites for part 4 of this 4-part action plan. Now, by this stage, you should have implemented part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this LinkedIn Client Acquisition System, which means that once you have identified the niche, created a transformative offer, did a LinkedIn profile makeover, and you have readied your machine funnel, and you are ready with your machine funnel, then it is the right time for us to activate the LinkedIn client attraction roadmap. Now, once everything is in place, the first action to take is to send your targeted niche a connection request on LinkedIn with add note. Now, after doing that, we need to wait for 7 days. Yes, so after 7 days, we need to check whether the connection request has been accepted. If the connection request has been accepted, now once everything is in place, the first action to take is to send your targeted niche a connection request with add note. Once we have done that, we will wait for 7 days, and post 7 days you need to check whether your connection request has been accepted or not. Now, irrespective of whether your connection request gets accepted or not, it is important to get the email ID and phone number of this specific targeted niche. One of the tools that you can use to get that is called signalhire.com. There are a bunch of other tools out there which you can use to get this detail. Now, if the client has accepted your connection request and also has replied to your add note content, then you will have a conversation with the client and send them the remaining messages in the LinkedIn content nurturing sequence in line with the client replies, and then try and get them to the machine funnel. But if the client has not replied to your connection request but has accepted your connection request, then in this case you will send them a LinkedIn content nurturing sequence. Now, LinkedIn content nurturing sequence means that you need to create 3 or 4 messages that you will send to your targeted niche on LinkedIn, which will should show the details of the transformative offer that you want to give to that particular niche, and also highlight their pain points in order to enable them in order to entice them to take an action and land into either your machine funnel or reply directly back to you on LinkedIn itself, right? Now, in case the connection request has not been accepted, then what you will do is you will send them a connection request again from a different LinkedIn ID with the same add note content. And post doing that, you will apply the OCN strategy, which is called organic client nudging strategy, which is nothing but nudging the clients on LinkedIn so that they come to know about you. Now, after doing this, you'll again wait for 7 days and again recheck whether they have accepted your connection request or not. Now, if they have not accepted your connection request, then you will check whether the email ID exists for this particular connection, for this particular prospect or not. Now, also in the case when you have sent them a LinkedIn content nurturing sequence, 3 or 4 sequences, and they have not responded from the sequences to you or has not landed to your machine funnel, in that case again you will check if the email ID of this particular prospect exists or not. Now, if the email ID exists of this prospect, then you will send this particular prospect a email content nurturing sequence. Now, email content nurturing sequence is again a series of 5 emails that you will make beforehand based on your targeted niche, which will then send to this niche one after the another within a gap of 2 or 3 days, so that the niche can understand and get details about your transformative offer, why they should take your products and services, and also it nudges the niche to click on the link which would redirect them to this machine funnel. Also would nudge the niche to reply back. Also, it should entice the niche to reply back on the email. Okay. Now, if the client or the niche replies back to you on email, you need to have the conversation with the niche and get them to the machine funnel. Remember, our objective is to drive the user through these activities to the machine funnel. Now, but if the client has not replied to your email sequence, then you need to check if the phone number exists. Okay. Also, if the email ID does not exist, again then check if the phone number exists or not. Now, if the phone number of this particular prospect exists, you will call the client at least twice, right? And then try to pitch this particular prospect the details about your products and services, so that you can convince this person to come and at least have a meeting with you. Now, if this particular client picked up your call when you call this person, right, and you had a positive response on the call, then you will drive them to the machine funnel. But if the client did not pick up your call, then what you will do is you will then send them an email and SMS explaining why you called this particular person in the first place, right? Now, in this email and SMS, now, if the client did not pick up your call, correct, then you will send this particular prospect an SMS and a WhatsApp explaining why you have called this particular prospect in the first place. And if you get a positive response from that particular SMS or WhatsApp, then again you will try and talk to this person, get them on a call, and pitch your products and services and get them to the machine funnel. Now, get them to the machine funnel. But if you do not get a positive response, and also if the client picked up your call and did not give you a positive response, in that case, if the email ID is still existing of this particular prospect, correct, you will send them a final email with your product deck enlisting your entire USPs in that one single email, and with just maximum two or three sequence, which should also span the sequence should also span between at least 30 days to 60 days, right? Because at this point, please remember, the guy has rejected you multiple times, right? They have not responded to you on LinkedIn, not responded to you on email, not responded to you on call, and now you're sending them a final email just explaining your entire product deck with the USP. And after doing this email, correct, sending this final email, you need to check if you have any other relevant lead for the same company to which this particular lead belongs. Also, if the email ID does not exist of this particular lead, which is fine, again check if you have any other lead of this company. If the relevant leads exist, then you can definitely close this lead and focus on some of the lead of the same company, right? No need to waste more time on this specific lead or prospect. But if the relevant lead did not exist, then check if either the email ID existed before or the prospect had accepted your connection request. Now, this is very, very important, because if this is the case, if the email ID existed before, which means they have not responded to your email, not responded to you on LinkedIn, correct? And also, if they have accepted your connection request, again means the same thing, that they have not responded to your LinkedIn as well. Then what you would do is you will send them 4-part value-based nurturing sequence. This means that you need to create 4 pieces of content which gives this prospect immense value related to their industry and which solves their pain points. Now, the idea of this 4-part value sequence should only to give value without expecting anything in return, right? Just give value to this particular client, this 4-part value sequence, correct? And there you can have the link of the machine funnel as well, right? Now, if in this 4-part value based nurturing sequence, in case the client replied, correct, then in that case you'll have a conversation and try to get him or her on the machine funnel. But in case this person did not reply, even after 4-part value sequence, then ask yourself the question, right? How important is this client for you? The same case again, if the relevant lead does not exist for this specific company, and also the email ID did not existed, and also this person has not accepted your connection request, again in the same case you can ask yourself this question: how important is this client for you? Again in the same case you can ask yourself this question: how important is this client for you? Now there are two things that you need to ask: is this client important or extremely important, right? If either this client is important or extremely important, now if this client is neither that important not extremely important for you, you can close this lead and focus on some other company. Okay, but if this client is either important or extremely important, then what you would do is you should reach out to the company's social media accounts. Yes, and call the company number and try and ask them to get you through to the relevant person, and you will mention the same thing in the social media message box. Now, if this activity helps you to reach the relevant person, then you'll talk to the relevant person, have sent email, have call conversation, and try to get them on the machine funnel. But even if this activity did not help you reach to the relevant person, then again you should ask yourself the question: how important is this client for you? Now, if this client is just important, then you can ignore this lead, right? But if this client is extremely important for you, then what you can do is then you can reach out to this specific lead social media handles. Now, the reason this is marked in red is because now you are entering into the personal territory of this particular lead. I generally would not recommend 100% to follow this strategy, but you're desperate enough to get business and you're desperate enough to talk to this particular lead, then you should then go ahead and reach out to this lead's social media handles first. Now from there, if you get a positive response, the lead response, right, then you can have a call and get them to the machine funnel. But if the lead did not respond from that, correct, and the phone number existed, then you can start a WhatsApp nurturing sequence. Now this WhatsApp nurturing sequence will be the same like the LinkedIn nurturing sequence and the email nurturing sequence that you had created earlier, just that now you run the same sequence on the WhatsApp with with a, with a minimalized text. Now through this, if you get a positive response, then have a conversation and get them to then you should have a conversation and get them to the machine funnel. But if you do not have a positive response, now in this case you should put a stop, park this lead, and you can again try this entire funnel with this specific lead after 2 months if it is that important for you. Now if you implement this entire part 4 of this LinkedIn client acquisition system, this will trigger the growth chart, the money chart, the paid client chart in your company. And most of this activity, part 1, part 2, part 3 and part 4 activities are something that you can set up and then either use tools or you can employ few people and they can run this entire ecosystem for you on an autopilot mode. Please remember, in today's time, the things that you cannot automate, you can always delegate using the virtual assistants available out there in the market. Now, this LinkedIn client acquisition system is and will help you achieve and attract client on a roll. Now, this brings us to the end of this is all about the LinkedIn client attraction roadmap. Now, if you follow this roadmap religiously, if you implement this roadmap the way I've explained it to you, you will start seeing visible results. You will start seeing the machine funnel churning out call bookings for you, using which you can start converting your strangers to your paid client. From today onward, you should go ahead and start implementing this LinkedIn client acquisition system 4-part action plan. Thank you for joining me here today. And I hope this 4-part action plan is going to put you on a path of LinkedIn client acquisition and help